Today, let's talk about the 3 things that we would never want to admit about ourselves. That this is somehow the way we are. That this is sometimes the way we are. We'd rather paint over these things with a beautiful, serene, happy, joyous image of ourselves. What are these 3 things? These 3 things are resentment, hatred, and anger towards others. All of these 3 things are part and parcel of our human expression. They are part and parcel of the evolutionary line of consciousness onto which we are the current expression. But let's bring it down to a personal level. I, myself, would never want to think of myself as someone who can hate people, who can hold resentments, who can hold grudges, who can hold anger towards others. Malice, if not in physicality, but in thought, in mind. I would much rather pretend that I am a very loving, spiritual, compassionate person, righteous, that all of my thoughts and actions are wholesome. I would like that. But it seems that the more I want to deny these 3 negative aspects of the dynamic consciousness that is playing out within my experience, the more I suffer from these. The more they inflict me, the more the experience of these brings me to a sense of guilt. And I wonder if that's the same experience for you. Is there a sense of guilt when you are feeling angry towards someone else? When you start hating someone, when someone gets so on your nerves that you just build resentments towards this person? Guilt is always an underlying feeling. There's always the underlying current to all of our negative emotions. This sense of guilt, shame, of doing wrong and being wrong is always something that, if it's not on the surface, then it is the energy that feeds these surface emotions, these painful emotions, these painful expressions. So what do we do? What do we do when there's this feeling of resentment and I feel like, well, I don't want to be resentful. I want to be spiritual. I want to be, nice. I want to be loving. I want, and it's true, heart desire that I want to express unconditional love. Even towards this very person. It would be my prayer. I would say, God, please help me love this person. And yet, at the same time, what I'm doing is I'm making this expression of anger or resentment or hatred. I'm making this expression wrong. I am, in that moment, creating a divide in experience. I'm creating a duality. And I select one side as what is right and the other side as what is wrong. And that split, just that split itself, facilitates ongoing and never-ending conflict. Peace can only be found in unity. Peace can only be found in oneness. Peace can only be found in the yoking of what seems to be separate. And it's because we have artificially separated it in our minds that the yoking or yoga is necessary. In truth, if we don't refer to our thoughts, memories, or if we don't refer to our conditioning, if we simply are facing the energy of any emotion that comes up, or any experience whatsoever, who or what is there to divide it into right and wrong, to divide it into something to feel guilty and shameful about, and to something that you could feel prideful or get a good feeling about? There's no one and nothing there that could make such an artificial divide. there's only the raw wholeness of experience. And you can check this out yourself. Just notice, in this moment, if we don't refer to any of our thoughts, what is the experience that takes place? What is this? Isn't it ineffable? Isn't it undescribable? Isn't it just the raw experience of color, sensation, sound, all the 5 sense doors being activated in the most spontaneous way, and you don't know what's happening next? So, how do we deal with our feelings of resentment, hatred, and blame? Resentment, hatred, and anger. We deal with this in the very same way that we would deal with any experience that arises. There's only one starting place, and that starting place is the, once again, admittance of what is so. So long as we try and explain this phenomena away, try and reason it away, oh, these are the reasons why I feel this way, and these are the reasons why they shouldn't have done this, or these are the reasons why I shouldn't feel this way, because I have adopted some spiritual dogma, yes? So, without referring to any of these, we're just going to look straight at what is, not create any story about it. What happens in that moment where resentment flares up, where you feel like you would really like to say something that you just really like to swear at that person. You just really like to tell him off. You don't tell him where to go. What happens in that moment? If we slow down, just feel it. The most obvious thing is, I am angry. There's anger here. No explanation, nothing needed. The anger needs no justification. It is just there. The anger's there, and what's the next step? I'm not going to push it away. I'm just going to let it be there. We're looking in our own direct experience, noticing what's there, and giving our consent that what is there, and I will not argue with reality. Because every time I tried arguing with reality and tried telling it that it shouldn't be this way, it never listened to me. So, every time we argue with reality, we are always, as Byron Katie says, as Adyashanti says, and as you yourself notice, we are always wrong each time we argue with reality. We are wrong and we lose, but only 100% of the time. So we allow what is there to be there. This is the whole of the technique. We can go on and we can dismantle it. We can see what is underneath this anger, underneath the resentment, and we will come to some peeling away of layers. And that is a perfectly acceptable and a perfectly workable approach. But you don't even need to go there. It can be simpler than that. Next time you're feeling resentful, angry, you're feeling hatred, see if it's possible to give yourself a few minutes to just sit down, maybe walk away from this person and just say, I just need a couple of minutes. I just need to take a look at something. And excuse yourself. Don't sit down and take deep breaths and try and cool yourself off and forget about it. This is not what I'm talking about here. You sit down and you fully embrace the experience of anger. You let it run through you like a waterfall. You let it run through you like you turned all the faucets onto full and it's just pouring through. You sit down and you open to it completely. You throw yourself open within your mind. You give consent to it and you say more. I want more of this. And you just sit down. And it will take you minutes, maybe even just 1 minute. And all of that anger, all of that hatred, all of the focus that you had on this person and this situation, that this is wrong, all of it will drain away within minutes, if not seconds. But only if you fully let go of the resistance. And all that means is that you notice what's there. You admit that what is here now. If it's hatred, it's hatred. If it's anger, it's anger. If it's resentment, it's resentment. And I'm going to do nothing about it. This is your second commitment. I am going to do nothing about it. I admit what's here. I'm going to do nothing about it. And I will open myself fully to experience what's in this moment. And I'll tell you now why this works. Every emotion that we experience, every arising within our own direct experience is limited. All of your experiences are limited. There's one thing, and one thing only, which is not a thing that is not limited, and that is you. But everything else comes and goes. You alone remain. Why is this important to know? This is important to know because once you open fully, you open the floodgates, open the barn doors, you open everything up for complete allowance. In this moment, you will realize that this emotion is itself limited. When you resist it, it's pushing against a barrier, and you feel it, and you feel it, and you feel it grinding away at you. As soon as you let that barrier go, this emotion has a limited lifespan, very limited. And as soon as it's uncanned, it drains away, leaving, oh, take a look, leaving just you. And naturally, there'll come about a bliss. Naturally, there'll come about a peace. Naturally, that experience will have served you in releasing this resistance to life. Now, you may go back, and in some moments or in days, and you might have the same exact experience with the same exact person, and again, this thing happens. Be grateful, because this is another opportunity to release the floodgates. This is another opportunity that life has gifted you to free yourself up from this conditioning, from this pent-up, stored emotional energy that has been draining you, that has been manipulating you, that has been affecting your life, and now you're ready to let it go. Now you know how to let it go. Now you are free to let it go. So choose. Choose the path that you would like to take. And enjoy. Always enjoy.